What's up, guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. Hope everyone's doing well, and we're going to kick things off highlighting the Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETF applications. So it looks like Fidelity, with over $4 trillion in assets under management, has filed for a spot Ethereum ETF. So here we have the Fidelity application that's filed to the SEC. And for us being investors in the crypto asset class, after a 2+ year bear market, we know that every single bull run begins with the narrative. A spot ETF for Bitcoin, Ethereum, even other assets in the future is just a matter of time. Before we dive into some super interesting metrics regarding a bull run, I want you guys to watch a few clips that I put together here from this interview. And please watch all of this clip. This is going to go into my next point, but we have Fidelity, 4.5 trillion AUM. We have BlackRock, 10 trillion AUM. Some of the world's largest custodians all applying for a Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETF. And in these clips, they explain they're trying to approve this in January of 2024. The absolute best case is a surprise before end of year in late December. And even if there are more delays from the SEC, these spot ETFs will be approved eventually. We have Larry Fink, head of BlackRock, on the news now calling crypto an international asset. And as they say in these clips, these custodians are going to be pushing investors to allocate a portion into crypto. Even if that only means 1%, 2%, or even 5%, that's a huge deal. When previously, the custodians that have applied for spot ETFs altogether have an AUM of over 17 trillion. And even at just 2% of that $17 trillion plus in AUM, that's roughly $340 billion in buy pressure. Let's say it took about 3 years or even over 1,000 days for that money to be allocated into the crypto asset class. The $340 billion divided by 1,000 is still over $300 million in buy pressure per day.
Further S1 amendments have been filed, and we expect still very much so that this comes in January. And on the ETH side, it's just more positive news. I think given the argument that these issuers have is the reason that the Bitcoin spot is allowed is because there's a Bitcoin futures, and the same now goes for the ETH side. It's only a matter of time before BlackRock and others stepped in. And I think what's a little bit of a surprise to the market is how quick that's happened.
The SEC is delaying a decision on the application by Hashdex to convert its Bitcoin futures ETF into a spot ETF. And it also punted, the SEC did, also punted a decision on Grayscale's attempt to do a new futures-based Ether ETF. So you think these delays, as you said, you're not surprised by this. And so what do you think is going on?
Yeah, it's really just they want to get all the applications ready for launch on the same day, like we saw with the Ethereum futures ETF about last month. And so they're pushing all those to that January date. If they delay BlackRock, they're not gonna let Hashdex go, unfortunately. So it's really just an organizational administration thing, and I think they probably got clarity that the government shutdown wasn't going to happen, so they have some more time. And maybe we still see it before year end, late December, clear off the slate before the holidays. But it's just very normal course going into that January deadline.
Now, if all of these are approved on the same day, you would think that most of the funds would flow into the BlackRock ETF. What do you think happens with all of the other applications if they're all approved on the same day and that first mover advantage is taken away?
Yeah, we've seen from the Ethereum futures side, I believe one or two of those issuers actually took down their product after the first week or two, just given there weren't many flows. I think regardless for the industry, it's extremely positive. This is like 10 plus institutional finance and sales teams going around the country and globe selling investors, asset allocators, pension funds on what crypto is and why they need to have an allocation in their portfolio. So, there'll be a couple, let's call them martyrs who don't get the inflows, but have invested extreme amounts of time and resources into making these products a huge success and spreading the good word. So I expect, there's a couple main players. I think BlackRock's one of them. I think the Invesco Galaxy is another one of them. And then I would say, just given the large liquidity head start that GBTC has, already 20 billion in assets in that vehicle, I think those three to me come to mind. Maybe ARK 21 shares, but there's differences in these distribution platforms and vehicles across each firm. Yeah, Lawrence. There's an old adage from Wall Street, something like when the credit markets start to thaw and open back up is when you really start to see things recover. So we're seeing that full force on the Maple front. It's definitely the new beginnings of a recovery and growth market. Lending volumes have scaled back tremendously. We just, in the last month, we crossed $100 million in total active loans on the platform. It's been a large uptick in demand and inbounds from our borrower base looking to access capital. And let me just ask, lay a few out and see if this is a bull market. We crossed 100 million in loans, onboarded and issued loans to two of the largest institutions to ever borrow from Maple, and have the largest monthly inbound onboarding requests in the past 12 months. So,
in just thinking about the market today, guys, the crypto asset class is around $1 trillion. Global equities is over 100 trillion. Derivatives, well over 100 trillion. Real estate, over 100 trillion. Bonds, over 100 trillion. Commodities, a couple dozen trillion. Bottom line, the crypto asset class has a lot of upside with success. We know Medico, the Switzerland-based custodian that Ripple purchased for $250 million, so they acquired them 100%. They even say right here, the growing institutional crypto custody market is expected to reach $10 trillion by 2030. So if these organizations like Medico that just partnered with HSBC, one of the big three banks, believes that crypto custody, the market will reach $10 trillion by 2030, what is the overall upside? What is the growth potential of this asset class with success? It's a lot higher than it is today. And a lot of people are looking at assets today. Some are up 2, 3, 4x. Others are still down over 90%, and people are worried. Bottom line, for the altcoin market, we're getting close to a good retracement, but we are not in a bull run. Last bull run, I was super confident in a variety of assets forming this double bottom, cup and handle, and having a golden cross in the weekly time frame. And as you can see right there, and this is why I took position in DAG at about 1.47 cents. So basically right around there, and this was after the golden cross. I had some profits from others, and I rolled it in, and DAG was my big hitter. And DAG took off. It did over 3,000% or over a 30x. The RSI crossed the 50 line and went into overbought where momentum was at an all-time high. But guess what? During a bear market, things still crash, and they can crash 90% if not more. There were a lot of guys in DAG way before me. This doesn't even show all the price history. It actually goes back all the way down here back in the day. I still hold a little DAG, but there are other assets that I'm arguably even more bullish on, even though that Constellation does have a small market cap. So could it recover? Could it do some big returns or create another all-time high price in the future? Absolutely. And looking at all of DAG's price history, it didn't break into a new high for almost 1,000 days. And I got lucky taking a big position here, but there were a lot of things on our side during this time. This is when Bitcoin is pushing into an all-time high price, and this is when we see the big alt season. And looking at Bitcoin on the monthly time frame, we are definitely getting closer to the next bullish cycle. I hope it happens in 2024. Every time you see monthly RSI go into overbought, we have a new all-time high price created. We're getting insanely close to some of those exciting moves. And at previous cycles where the RSI was at its peak on the monthly time frame, it took over 1,200 days to break into a new high. Same thing measuring the RSI at its peak. This also took over 1,000 days to break into new all-time highs. If we're measuring from the previous monthly RSI peak right there, we're at 975 days, so that means that we're definitely in that area within 2024. So by just looking at previous cycles on higher time frames, I'm confident that history is going to rhyme. And it may not, so please never invest money that you can't afford to lose. We can look at history for a variety of assets, or when you see the highest number of alts push into new all-time highs, it is when Bitcoin breaks into a new all-time high. So we have the Bitcoin price chart looking at its 2017 all-time high just under 20,000. And we don't always know which alts could lead Bitcoin. The greatest majority of alts are going to follow Bitcoin as Bitcoin breaks into a new high. So we can see Bitcoin breaking into a new all-time high December 20 going into 2021. After this happened, we had a variety of assets, and this is H-bar breaking into new highs. So we have Bitcoin running up, breaking into new all-time highs, and then later the alts absolutely take off. That volume from Bitcoin, from Ethereum, cycle into alts. So I'm in crypto to capitalize off those huge moves. We've had multiple cycles. We can study the data. We can overlay assets, see which ones lead by a little bit, by a couple weeks or a couple months. The greatest confluence for every single alt season is when Bitcoin pushes into a new all-time high price. It's good to see that Bitcoin has recovered from those lows of 15,500 last year. And we're about 89 or 90% from an all-time high price. And assuming Bitcoin breaks into another all-time high price, the ROI of Bitcoin versus a variety of assets, the ROI is significantly larger in alts. Say Bitcoin goes to like 48, 50K and rejects, or even if it goes to an all-time high price. Or even if you think Bitcoin breaks into a new high over 100,000, say over 200% or over a 3x from here. Bitcoin pushes into a new all-time high price or breaks 100K at some point, there's going to be other alts that do much more than a 200% move. And even looking at previous cycles, when Bitcoin, this orange line, was breaking into a new all-time high at the end of 2020 into 2021. Even from these highs, H-bar didn't start moving for like 60 days afterwards, so 1 or 2 months of H-bar kind of steadily climbing, maybe going sideways, and then taking off. And when the bull run comes, we're going to be excited, we're going to be emotional, we're going to be making some good decisions and maybe some very bad decisions. And all I can do from studying the past is to position myself accordingly and wait for that bull run, because I believe Bitcoin goes to a new all-time high price. If you think Bitcoin goes to zero, the crypto asset class is a complete joke, I completely get it. I disagree. I think real-world assets, tokenization, DeFi, all of these use cases take years to develop. And they're going to impact every single industry sector, and we're seeing that today. Here's a quick clip of Medico highlighting custody and the importance of this for the crypto asset class.
But custody is the enabler. With custody, can you then get into value-added services? With custody, can you then go into payments, tokenization, and other streams? And custody, therefore, is this necessary brick, this thing that you have to throw on the table, so that then, as a regulated institution, can you build on top of it and create a service that your clients will appreciate.
So enabling these custody solutions is so important for future applications, for payments, for even adoption of this asset class. And the secret to every multi-year bear market is to last long enough for the next bull run, which happens every few years. So it's years of accumulating as low as possible in assets that you believe in and then waiting for necessary volume to come. I started doing YouTube covering crypto in 2018, 2019, 2020. It wasn't fun. The end of 2020 and then early 2021 was absolutely awesome. And doing videos this bear market, all of 2022, 2023, it hasn't been fun. But I'll be here for the bad days because I want to be around for the good days. So we're seeing more and more assets starting to wake up. We had AVAX do a nice little pump over 150%, actually a little bit more wick to wick. And not financial advice, I believe that AVAX absolutely crushes through this fair value gap eventually, but maybe not yet. I saw a gentleman pointing out AVAX and just looking on DeFi Llama of its TVL, or total value locked, in the protocol. During the bull run in 2021, its total value locked was over $11 billion in this protocol. 11 billion compared to where we're at today, we're only at 600 million. And I saw a guy sharing that stablecoins and different assets and TVL were actually leaving AVAX during this pump. So it makes you wonder, was this recent pump actually sustainable? Are we going to keep climbing, breaking through these previous highs and break out of accumulation, or were they actually exiting the market to buy back lower later on? We have BitTensor absolutely crushing it since even October back here. This thing has done a 400% move, or over a 5x. I didn't buy the bottom of this one at like 30 bucks. I was around like 62 bucks, a small position, but it's up. Looking at the total market cap of all crypto assets except for Bitcoin and Ethereum, so the altcoin market, we're seeing similarities. We're starting to poke above the 21 EMA on the monthly time frame, which is great to see. I'm hopeful for bigger price moves in the future, but I'm going to be 10 times more excited when we're actually closer to an all-time high price. So if you think crypto's a joke, I completely get it. We had 3AC, we had Luna, Celsius, lending platforms, black swans back-to-back, all types of collapses, but I still believe this asset class is here to stay. We have some of the world's largest custodians investing in crypto trading desks and custody solutions in DeFi. I still believe that Web3 will be one of the biggest wealth transfers that I'll see in my lifetime. And linked in the top of my link tree and also in the top of the YouTube video description, we have Caleb and Brown. Even if you never use this exchange or OTC broker for crypto, that's fine, but I highly recommend creating a free account and having it set up. This is an over-the-counter broker. You don't have to be accredited to have an account or even use them. They have 26,000 clients. Some of these are actual institutions or LLCs that trade crypto. Some of them are just you and me, like retail investors. 2.7 billion in volume and 250 digital assets available today. With this OTC broker, all of my assets are held in cold storage 24/7. In all of the digital assets available on this exchange, I can trade pair to pair. I don't have to go to US dollar or Tether in between just to make a swap. So for example, anybody that has ridden some nice pumps recently in different assets like SNX or CAS, people with an account on Caleb and Brown can then roll directly from that asset that's in profit into HBAR or XRP or some other laggard. By being able to swap between assets directly, you can save costs. You don't have the headaches of going to different protocols or different DeFi apps or even using different exchanges each time, moving money between all of these. I've been using this platform since early 2021. You don't have to use it, but I highly recommend having this set up. During a bull run, if your Coinbase, your Binance, your Uphold account goes down, you can't trade. This OTC broker can set up market orders, limit orders without moving the price because it's traded over the counter. And even if Coinbase is down, they source multiple liquidity providers and market makers, so they are actually plugged into all the biggest exchanges and have those for redundancy. So be sure to check out the link in the top of the YouTube video description and in the pinned comment just to have your account set up. I hope you guys enjoyed, and huge thanks to all that hit the like button, and I'll catch you in the next one.